Okay, continuing in our log series, Where Are the Logs? We're going to take a look at SQL. So if we hit the Start menu under All Programs, you'll see some edition of SQL. Most likely, if you see multiple editions, the higher one is the one that's actually going to be what's installed. In this case, it's 2012, but it's pretty much the same for 2008 as well, 2005. So we'll hit the SQL Server Management Studio. All right, and we'll immediately be presented with a connection prompt. You can either, if you're logged into the SQL Server, you can just type in localhost if you don't know. You can type in pretty much any network accessible name or IP here. Do note that if your SQL Server is a named instance, and we'll talk about how you can tell in just a moment here, but if it is a named instance, you'll have to add a backslash and the SQL instance name here. All right, that being said, most SQL instances, or certainly a good deal of them, are simply local instances, so they're just the server name, and that's what we'll use here. If Windows authentication requires Active Directory credentials that you are logged into as you run this shell to have it access, or you can change it to SQL Server authentication and provide it a SQL login. Okay, so we have our connection up here. Things of note, especially for support incidents, you can get the SQL build number right off the connection line right there, as well as what account you're currently logged in as. And as far as getting to the logs, expand management, and this is pretty much identical for 2008 as well as 2012, and 2005 as well. It's pretty much in the same spot. Under management, SQL Server logs. Each entry here indicates a separate actual file in the SQL logs directory. Depending on how the system is configured, will determine how many log files are kept and when they are rolled over. Generally speaking, by default, they only roll over when the service is restarted, so it can be kind of an odd spread of dates. However, looking for troubleshooting for a current incident, you're always going to want to grab the current log and simply double-click on it. So pull open the log file viewer. The Windows NT branch allows you to access server logs as well, so that you can combine them with the SQL Server logs in the direct time they all occurred. It makes troubleshooting quite simple. All right, as with everything, we're going to talk about how to filter effectively so you can actually find something that will help you in a short amount of time. So for SQL, we really don't have the same thing as far as Windows event logs where we're looking for critical or warning or error. Well, you certainly can search for specific items that show up in the body of a message in the message text area. But generally speaking, you're going to have a time period that issues happened. So using the date, start date, and end date, if those dates are within the time the file covers, then those will be included. If you have a source user or a source system, you can include that there. But generally, the date is going to get you the most bang for your buck. Checking Apply Filter and hitting OK. Reduce the errors. So in most cases, if you have an error, it'll be repeating. You'll be wanting to check your timestamps to see about when the error occurred. If you find a specific error or have a specific database, for example, I can search for this database for report server, or let's actually do Veeam1. All right, so now I only see events that are related to the Veeam database, or at least that have Veeam in this message. So SQL, for the most part, has pretty good logging in that it tries to tell you exactly what went wrong. In most cases, giving you the information about what databases were involved, everything that was involved. So searching upon, so you have an issue with a certain database or a certain SQL instance or whatnot, you can certainly search on that name. Again, once you have what you want visible to document the ticket, just click on Export. You can stick with the log file. SQL Server agent will really only be used if there's troubleshooting some sort of scheduled job that did not execute. Most issues with SQL are usually resolved around login permissions, which will be found in the SQL log up top.